The arena was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. It stretched for miles, a vast circle of polished stone and alien metals, glimmering under the light of three suns. Thousands of spectators filled the stands, creatures of every imaginable shape and color, their voices blending into a deafening roar. Some floated above the seating, some crawled or slithered, and a few even seemed to shimmer, their forms only partially solid. At the center of the arena, on a throne carved from black crystal that reflected the sun's light in sharp, fractured beams, sat the alien queen. Her form was tall, regal, and terrifying. Her skin was a deep, iridescent green, and her eyes were golden, glowing faintly with intelligence and authority. Her wings, large, translucent, and patterned like molten glass, folded neatly behind her, but even at rest they radiated power. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine as he looked up at her. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy, and to be in this arena, in the midst of a civilization he barely understood, was terrifying. Yet he had no choice. He had been sent here as an observer, part of a diplomatic mission from the human colonies. But now the mission felt fragile, almost meaningless in the face of the tension that gripped the crowd. The Queen's voice rang out, amplified by some alien technology smooth and sharp like molten metal. "The guilty among you has betrayed my people. Their actions threaten the future of this empire. They will answer for their deeds." Whispers erupted among the crowd. Aliens shifted, their eyes darting nervously, claws or tendrils twitching. Ethan's heart beat faster. He scanned the mass of spectators, noting suspicious movements. Some tried to hide, glancing at one another with fear. Some seemed unconcerned, too arrogant to believe they could be called guilty. Ethan felt a tug of unease. He had no idea who the Queen meant. Could it be someone close to him? Was it a human, or someone else entirely? He knew only one thing: if the Queen had called out the guilty, she meant business. There would be no second chance, no mercy. The Queen's wings unfurled slightly, creating a subtle hum that vibrated through the air. Her gaze swept across the arena, sharp and searching, and Ethan felt it brush over him like a physical touch. There was something in that gaze, something that made him shiver. It was recognition, or perhaps a challenge. "The guilty will step forward," the Queen commanded, her voice rising like thunder. "If none do, I will find them myself." The crowd froze. Even the boldest of spectators seemed to shrink under her power. Whispers died mid-sentence. The Queen's words were not empty threats. Everyone here knew that. Across the arena, Ethan could see some beings trembling. Others were trying to hide, ducking behind companions or blending with the shadows of the stone terraces. Ethan's instincts screamed at him to stay hidden, to blend in and hope he remained unnoticed. But something inside him stirred. He had been trained to face danger, to make hard choices when others froze. And he had seen enough of injustice, enough of fear controlling people, to know that sometimes courage demanded action, even when the outcome was uncertain. He stepped forward. The sound of his movement seemed to echo in the suddenly quiet arena. Heads turned. Some eyes widened in surprise. Ethan felt the weight of thousands of gazes on him, curious, alarmed, even hostile. He continued walking steadily, his steps deliberate. The further he moved, the more the crowd parted, unsure how to react. The Queen's head tilted slightly, and her golden eyes followed him. There was no anger yet, only interest, curiosity, and perhaps a measure of amusement. Ethan felt exposed, but his resolve did not waver. He did not know why the Queen's gaze had landed on him, but he knew that backing down would change nothing. Sometimes, doing the right thing meant standing alone. When he reached the center of the arena, just a few meters from the throne, the Queen spoke again. Her voice was calmer now, like a river running over rocks, but it still carried the weight of command. "Human," she said, "you have stepped forward without knowledge, without fear of what awaits. Explain why." Ethan swallowed hard. He had no idea how much she already knew, but he understood that hesitation could be dangerous. "I do not know who is guilty," he said, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. "But I am willing to help. Someone has betrayed your people, and if I can help stop them, I will." There was silence for a moment, then a low hum of appreciation, or was it amusement, passed through the crowd. The Queen's wings shifted slightly, catching the light. She leaned forward on her throne, and her eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "Most do not step forward," she said softly. "They hide in fear, hoping the guilty will be someone else. You, human, have chosen differently. You are curious, brave, or foolish." Ethan did not flinch. He knew that bravery without wisdom could be foolish, but inaction often carried a higher cost. "I may be foolish," he admitted, "but I will not let anyone suffer from a betrayal I could prevent." A ripple went through the crowd. Aliens exchanged glances, some nodding in approval, others murmuring doubts. Ethan could feel their judgment, but he refused to look away from the Queen. She was testing him, evaluating whether humans could rise to the challenges of this galaxy, and he would not fail by shrinking from the moment. The Queen leaned back, her wings folding with a sound like silk brushing metal. "Very well," she said. "If you wish to help, you must understand the consequences. The betrayal you seek to stop is not minor. It threatens the balance of my empire. One false move and countless lives could be lost. You will be watched. You will be tested. And should you fail, you will be remembered as the fool who dared step into the arena." Ethan met her gaze without wavering. "I understand, and I accept." The Queen's wings shimmered faintly. "Then you will begin here," she said, gesturing to the vast arena. "Among your peers the traitor hides. Watch them, learn their ways, speak to them. Observe carefully, for the guilty often wear masks of innocence." The arena shifted. Platforms rose from the floor, displaying holographic images of the city, its energy networks, and key figures within the empire. Ethan studied them carefully, noticing patterns that others overlooked. Some beings moved with nervous energy, others with casual confidence. Some humans like him were present, but few. As he began to navigate the crowd, mingling carefully, he realized the Queen had given him more than a challenge. She had given him an opportunity to prove the value of humanity. In a galaxy where humans were often underestimated, he could show that courage, curiosity, and clever thinking were not limited to any one species. Hours passed. Ethan observed the crowd, listened to conversations in multiple languages, and noted subtle behaviors. A hand that lingered too long over a device, a glance exchanged too quickly, a hesitation that seemed out of place, all clues. He felt exhaustion creep in, but his resolve only strengthened. Every small detail could matter. Every observation could tip the balance between justice and chaos. Finally, as the suns began to set, casting long shadows across the arena, Ethan noticed something. A figure moving deliberately, yet trying to avoid attention. Their movements were precise, too careful, and there was a tension in their posture that spoke of guilt. He studied them quietly, gathering evidence in his mind, knowing the Queen would not tolerate a mistake. He could feel the weight of the crowd's eyes, some curious, some skeptical, but he did not falter. He had stepped forward once, risking everything on courage alone. Now he would step forward again, guided by observation, reasoning, and the unyielding desire to do what was right. The Queen's golden eyes watched him like a star observing a planet, patient yet unyielding. Somewhere in her mind, she must have recognized the same spark in him that she saw in her most trusted advisors, a willingness to act when others would freeze, to confront danger rather than hide from it. Ethan felt a strange calm settle over him. He did not know what the next step would bring. The guilty could be anywhere. The challenge could end in triumph or in disaster. But for the first time in a long while, he felt that he belonged here, not merely as an observer, but as someone who could make a difference, who could stand against fear and injustice in a galaxy that often overlooked humanity. And so, as the arena grew quiet under the alien suns, and the Queen's gaze remained fixed upon him, Ethan prepared for the task ahead. He did not know the full extent of the betrayal, nor the dangers that awaited him, but he knew this. He had stepped out of the crowd, and that choice had already changed everything. The murmurs of the spectators faded into a tense silence. The arena was no longer just a place of observation. It was the beginning of a trial that could alter the fate of countless worlds. Ethan's heart beat steadily, his mind sharp, and his courage unwavering. The first step had been taken, and nothing could turn him back now. Ethan followed the pathway from the arena to the palace, a structure so immense it seemed to stretch into the clouds. Its walls shimmered with a strange metallic hue, smooth yet impossibly strong, and alien patterns crawled across its surface, shifting as if alive. The air inside was cooler, heavier, and hummed faintly, resonating with the power that had once flowed through the ancient halls. The Queen's attendants, tall and elegant beings with translucent skin and glowing eyes, guided him silently. They moved with a grace that seemed almost unnatural, their every motion precise and purposeful. Ethan kept his head low, careful to observe everything while remaining respectful. He knew one wrong gesture or word could be misunderstood in a world so different from his own. "This palace," one of the attendants said in a calm, melodic tone, "holds the history of our empire. It remembers everything. It watches those who walk through it. Be mindful, human." Ethan nodded. He could feel it. The palace itself seemed alive. The walls hummed as if acknowledging his presence or perhaps warning him. He wasn't sure, but the sensation made him alert. Every step mattered. Every glance could reveal more than he intended. They led him to a central hall, vast and open, where holographic projections floated above pools of liquid light. These projections showed maps of the empire, security systems, key figures, and locations of vital assets. Ethan realized that the Queen had given him access to tools far beyond anything humans normally had. She was testing him, but she had also armed him. "You may use this," the attendant said, "but beware, not all here are allies. Some watch you, some wish to mislead you. Trust your instincts, human." Ethan studied the holograms carefully. Patterns began to emerge. Small inconsistencies, minor deviations in movement, strange absences, clues that someone within the palace was acting against the Queen. He felt the first surge of determination. This was no longer observation. This was active investigation. Hours passed as Ethan moved through the palace, talking to workers, guards, and attendants. He asked questions, observed reactions, and noted small details. A guard who shifted nervously when a certain name was mentioned. An attendant whose eyes lingered too long on the energy network maps. A scholar who avoided looking at Ethan entirely. The more he explored, the more he realized how complex this world was. Alien logic and customs were embedded in every detail. Doors opened to different dimensions. Hallways curved impossibly, defying his expectations of space. Security systems reacted not only to physical movement but to intention and emotion. Ethan had to think differently, to observe beyond what his eyes could see. At one point, he entered a library filled with floating books and data crystals. Each object contained centuries of knowledge, memories of the Empire, and records of every important decision. He ran his hands over the crystals, feeling the pulse of energy beneath them. One crystal caught his attention, a record of a recent shipment of energy cores to the outer colonies. There was a subtle anomaly in the record, a mismatch between what was sent and what arrived. Ethan frowned. This could be the key. Whoever had manipulated the shipment could have been setting the stage for disaster, weakening the Empire's defenses. He noted the details carefully, storing them in his mind. Each clue was another thread, and he was beginning to see a pattern forming. As night fell under the alien suns, the palace glowed with soft light. Ethan was exhausted but could not rest. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Every decision mattered. One wrong step could allow the traitor to succeed, or worse, put him in danger. Yet he did not feel fear, only a focused determination. He had stepped forward in the arena, and now he would not falter. Late into the alien night, he came across a small garden, a rare space of calm within the palace's labyrinth. Bioluminescent plants glowed softly, casting shifting shadows across marble pathways. Ethan crouched near a fountain, observing the movement of tiny creatures that flitted between the plants. It was peaceful, almost surreal, and for a moment he allowed himself to breathe. Then he noticed movement, subtle, deliberate. A figure was watching him from the shadows. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He stepped closer, carefully revealing himself, and saw a young alien woman, her skin pale and translucent, her eyes sharp and alert. "You are not supposed to be here," she said softly, her voice melodic but wary. "I could say the same about you," Ethan replied calmly. "I mean no harm. I am searching for someone who betrayed the Queen. Maybe we can help each other." The woman studied him, her expression unreadable. "You are brave or foolish. Few humans would navigate these halls alone, especially seeking a traitor." "I have no choice," Ethan said. "I cannot let this betrayal succeed. Countless lives depend on it." Her gaze softened slightly. "Very well. I will help you, but only because the Queen trusts you in ways others do not. You must be careful. The traitor is clever and well protected." With her guidance, Ethan learned to move more efficiently through the palace. She showed him hidden corridors, access points to restricted areas, and methods to bypass security that relied not on force but on observation and subtlety. Ethan realized that in this world, raw strength was less important than intelligence, patience, and perception. Together, they began to gather evidence. Ethan noticed patterns in how staff moved, which areas were avoided, and subtle inconsistencies in reports. The young woman, whose name he learned was Lyra, explained the behaviors. "The guilty often overcompensate," she said. "They act as if they are careful, but every action leaves traces. Watch closely and the truth becomes clear." As the night deepened, Ethan pieced together more evidence. A shipment discrepancy, a guard who had altered patrol routes, and subtle changes in energy flow indicated a coordinated plan. The traitor was not acting alone, and the consequences of their actions could be catastrophic if left unchecked. Ethan's mind worked tirelessly, connecting dots, observing behaviors, and anticipating the next move. He realized that he was beginning to think like the aliens around him, seeing the world through their logic while maintaining his human perspective. His ability to blend these approaches gave him an edge. Hours passed like minutes, and Ethan felt the thrill of discovery, mixed with the tension of impending danger. Every clue brought him closer to the truth, but also closer to exposure. He knew that the traitor watched, that his every move could be anticipated, and that the Queen's eyes were ever present. Yet he did not hesitate. He had stepped forward once, and now he would continue, driven by courage, intellect, and a sense of duty. Finally, near the heart of the palace, Ethan found a room filled with complex devices, control panels, energy monitors, and communication arrays. He noticed subtle anomalies in the patterns displayed, evidence of manipulation. This was the center of the plot, the place where the traitor's influence was strongest. Lyra whispered, "Be careful. The one who operates here is highly skilled. They will not hesitate to defend themselves." Ethan nodded, his heart steady. He studied the equipment, tracing the anomalies back to their source. The evidence was clear, but he had to confirm it. One wrong accusation could be disastrous. He needed to observe the traitor in action. Hours later, as the alien suns rose again, Ethan saw movement, calculated, precise, and unmistakably guilty. A high-ranking official, someone above suspicion, was tampering with the energy cores, setting the stage for disaster. Ethan noted every detail, storing it in his mind, knowing that the Queen would demand proof. Lyra nodded approvingly. "You have found them. Now you must plan carefully. The next steps are crucial. The Queen will judge not only the guilty, but also those who act against them. Every action must be precise." Ethan felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him once more, but he welcomed it. He had stepped out of the crowd in the arena, risking everything, and now he was closer to uncovering the traitor than anyone else could. His human perspective, combined with his courage and adaptability, had brought him this far. The palace hummed around him, alive and watchful, as if acknowledging his efforts. The challenge was far from over, but Ethan felt a spark of confidence. He was no longer just an observer. He was an active participant in shaping the fate of the Queen's empire. And as he prepared for the next move, he knew one thing with certainty. The traitor would not escape, and humanity's courage and ingenuity had a place in this alien world. Ethan crouched behind a translucent column, watching the high-ranking official move with precise, deliberate steps. The official's skin was a pale silver, shimmering faintly under the palace lights, and their eyes flickered nervously, betraying a tension that their otherwise composed demeanor tried to hide. Every movement was calculated, almost ritualistic, as though they believed that no one could notice the subtle manipulations they were performing. Ethan's heart beat steadily. He had observed the traitor for hours, tracking every subtle deviation from normal behavior, every hesitation and overcorrection. The evidence he had gathered was clear, but he knew that confronting them directly was dangerous. The official had power, allies, and advanced weaponry at their disposal. One misstep, and the carefully balanced palace security could turn against him. Lyra hovered near the entrance of the control room, her translucent wings folded tightly behind her. Her sharp eyes darted across the room, scanning for any hidden defenses or alarms that might trigger. "Be careful," she whispered. "They are cunning. Do not underestimate them. One wrong move and the consequences could be catastrophic." Ethan nodded, silently reviewing his plan. Confrontation had to be precise, swift, and backed by undeniable evidence. He stepped from behind the column, his hands raised slightly in a gesture of non-aggression. The official froze mid-motion, eyes narrowing as they detected movement. "You," Ethan said, his voice calm but firm, "you've been manipulating the energy cores. Your actions could destroy the Empire's defenses. I know it." The official's lips curled into a small, cold smile. "And what would a human know of our affairs?" they said, their voice smooth and edged with disdain. "You are far from your world, yet you dare accuse someone above suspicion." Ethan held his ground. "I've seen your patterns. I've traced the anomalies. You have been clever, but you made mistakes. Small ones, but they add up. I know what you're planning, and I will stop you." The official's eyes flicked toward the panels, then back at Ethan. "Impressive," they said quietly. "Most would falter under pressure. Most would hide. But you are bold, human." Ethan's mind raced. He knew that words alone would not suffice. The official was testing him, measuring his resolve, perhaps even trying to bait him into a mistake. He needed proof, something undeniable, something that would alert the Queen and her advisors without giving the traitor time to react. He stepped closer to the console, pretending to examine the panels. His fingers traced the energy core diagrams, subtly triggering an alert that would log the manipulations in the palace system. He had learned from Lyra that the palace recorded every action, and this would create an official record of the traitor's crime. The official's smile faded, replaced by a flash of alarm. "What are you doing?" they demanded, reaching for a concealed weapon. Ethan reacted instinctively. He stepped back, using his body weight to push a lever that caused the floor beneath the traitor to shift slightly, enough to unbalance them without causing harm. The official stumbled, cursing in a language Ethan did not understand, and the momentary distraction gave him the opening he needed. "Step away from the controls," Ethan said firmly. "You cannot win. The Queen will know everything you have done." The official straightened quickly, drawing a sleek, curved weapon from beneath their cloak. Energy pulses ran along its edge, humming with lethal potential. Ethan froze for a moment, calculating his options. He could not overpower them with strength alone. He had to use his mind, his observation, and his adaptability. He remembered Lyra's words, "The guilty overcompensate. Watch closely and the truth becomes clear." Ethan shifted slightly, drawing the official's attention to a holographic projection of the energy cores. He gestured toward a minor anomaly, a tiny fluctuation that the official had overlooked. "Is this part of your plan?" he asked calmly. The official's eyes flicked to the display, and in that instant of distraction, Ethan lunged. Using the momentum, he slammed a nearby lever that activated a containment field, trapping the weapon in a sphere of energy. The official hissed, slamming against the field but could not break free. Ethan took a cautious step forward. "It's over. The Queen will know everything. Your manipulations, your lies, they are all exposed." The official's eyes blazed with fury. "You dare defy me? You, a human, unworthy and insignificant, think you can interfere in affairs far beyond your understanding." Ethan held their gaze. "I do not act out of pride or arrogance. I act because it is right. You endangered countless lives. You betrayed trust. That is enough for anyone, human or alien, to stop you." The traitor's expression faltered. For a brief moment, Ethan saw fear beneath the layers of arrogance. It was confirmation of guilt, undeniable and raw. The official tried to strike again, but the containment field held firm. Ethan activated the secondary mechanism, sending a signal to the palace security. Moments later, silent alarms pulsed through the halls, alerting guards to the location of the traitor. The official froze as guards arrived, their weapons raised. "This is not over," they hissed, but their voice lacked conviction. They had lost the initiative, and the palace's systems now recorded every action. Ethan stepped back, breathing steadily. He had faced danger, relied on his mind, and used the tools at hand to outmaneuver someone far more powerful than himself. The realization filled him with a quiet satisfaction. He had done what many others could not. Lyra approached, her wings folded neatly. "You have done well," she said softly. "Few humans could have accomplished this. Your courage, observation, and decisiveness have saved countless lives. The Queen will know of your success soon." Ethan nodded, still alert. "We are not done yet. The traitor may have allies. We need to ensure that this plot is fully uncovered." Lyra smiled faintly. "Indeed, but the hardest part is complete. The traitor is caught in the act. Now the truth will be revealed and the Queen's judgment will follow." Ethan studied the official as the guards led them away. He could feel the weight of responsibility still pressing down, but he also felt a spark of confidence. Humanity often underestimated themselves in a galaxy of advanced species, but moments like this proved that courage, intellect, and adaptability could surpass expectations. He remembered the Queen's words from the arena, "Most do not step forward. They hide in fear, hoping the guilty will be someone else. You, human, have chosen differently." Ethan had not sought glory or recognition. He had acted because it was necessary, because lives depended on it. Yet, in stepping forward, he had demonstrated the qualities that made humans unique, a combination of reason, empathy, and unflinching courage. As the palace quieted, Ethan moved through the halls, reviewing the evidence one last time. Every observation, every anomaly, every detail he had noted was now part of an undeniable record. He had not only identified the traitor but had ensured that justice would be served. When he reached the central hall, the Queen awaited him. Her golden eyes regarded him with intensity, her wings folded in a relaxed yet commanding posture. She had observed everything, her presence filling the room with authority. "You have done well, human," she said, her voice calm but carrying weight. You confronted the guilty when others would have hidden. You acted with precision, courage, and intelligence. Few beings could have succeeded where you have. Ethan bowed his head slightly, showing respect. I did what I had to do. The lives of many depended on it. The Queen inclined her head. Indeed, and in doing so, you have proven that humans are more capable than many give them credit for. You have earned a place of respect in my court, though that is not your reward. Your actions have protected countless lives and preserved the stability of this empire. Ethan felt a mixture of relief and pride. He had stepped forward, faced danger, and succeeded. Yet he knew the journey was not over. Trust between species was delicate, and there would always be new challenges. But in that moment, he allowed himself a quiet sense of accomplishment. Lyra approached and gave him a small nod. The Queen's approval is rare. Few receive it. You have earned it honestly. Ethan smiled faintly. I only hope I can continue to live up to it. The Queen spoke again, her gaze sweeping the hall. Let this be a lesson to all. Courage, honesty, and action in the face of danger are virtues worth more than power or cunning alone. This human has shown that even in a galaxy filled with unimaginable species, the heart and mind of one individual can change the course of events. The hall remained silent, the weight of her words settling over everyone present. Ethan stood, feeling the gravity of the moment. He was no longer just an observer. He had acted decisively, altered the path of events, and proven that humanity had a place in this complex, vast, and often dangerous galaxy. As the guards led the traitor away and palace staff returned to their duties, Ethan allowed himself a moment to breathe. The danger had passed, but the memory of it remained, a reminder that courage and vigilance were always required. The Queen's voice echoed once more, softer now but no less commanding. Remember, human, this is not the end. You have shown your worth, but the galaxy is vast and challenges are endless. Continue to act with the wisdom and bravery you have displayed today. Ethan nodded, silently promising himself that he would. The trial had tested him, shaped him, and revealed the strength of human courage and intellect. He had stepped out of the crowd, faced a formidable adversary, and succeeded. And in doing so, he had earned not only the Queen's respect, but the knowledge that humanity could hold its own in a universe filled with extraordinary beings and unimaginable dangers. The central hall of the palace was quiet now, but it was a charged silence, as though the walls themselves remembered the tension and bravery that had filled it hours before. Ethan stood near the throne, his posture steady, though his mind buzzed with the events that had unfolded. The traitor had been exposed and contained, but the final judgment, the Queen's judgment, was yet to come. The Queen's golden eyes, calm and piercing, regarded him from her throne. Her wings shifted slightly, catching the light of the palace and sending refracted colors across the walls. Ethan felt both awe and a quiet reassurance. She was formidable, yet there was a spark of respect in her gaze, something rare, even among her own species. You have acted where others would have frozen, she said. You have confronted danger not with fear, but with courage and intellect. Few beings, human or alien, would have accomplished what you have. Ethan bowed slightly, acknowledging her words. I only did what I believed was necessary. Countless lives depended on it. I could not stand by. The Queen inclined her head. And yet standing by is the easier path. Most take it, most hide behind their fear. You have shown that action, guided by reason and morality, is a force stronger than fear itself. Ethan's eyes swept the hall. Guards, attendants, and scholars watched him, some with curiosity, others with admiration. He realized that his actions had not only caught the traitor, but had also shifted the perception of humans in this alien society. For a species so often underestimated, his courage had proven their potential. The Queen rose from her throne, her presence filling the room like sunlight breaking through clouds. She descended the steps with deliberate grace, each movement commanding attention. Ethan felt a thrill of anticipation. He did not know what she intended, but he sensed that her next words would carry immense weight. "You have done more than catch a traitor," she said, her voice echoing through the hall. "You have reminded us all of a simple truth, that courage and integrity are not limited by species, nor by the size of one's body or the technology at their disposal. They reside in the heart and mind. And today, you, a human, have exemplified these virtues better than many of my own advisors." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest, a mixture of pride and humility. Recognition from the Queen was rare, almost unheard of for humans. Yet here he stood, not for personal glory, but as a representative of a species that so often struggled to be acknowledged in the galaxy. The Queen paused, letting her words sink in. Then she raised a hand, and holographic projections appeared around the room, showing the evidence Ethan had gathered, the anomalies in the energy cores, the suspicious movements of the traitor, the manipulations of the palace systems. "These records," she said, "will remain part of our archives, a testament to the actions of one who dared step forward when fear would have kept them hidden. Human, your efforts will be remembered and your courage honored." Ethan felt a quiet determination settle over him. He had acted without expectation of reward, yet the acknowledgement was meaningful. It was not vanity, but the realization that human actions, guided by courage and reason, could have lasting impact, even in an empire far larger and older than his own. The Queen continued, her gaze fixed upon him. "You have also earned my trust. Trust is rare, and it is not given lightly. You may remain in my court as an advisor, a human who can bridge worlds, providing insight, observation, and wisdom where others might fail." "Will you accept this role?" Ethan thought for a moment. The offer was beyond anything he could have imagined. To stay in the palace, to work closely with the Queen, to represent humanity in a galaxy of powerful species, this was an opportunity few could dream of. Yet he understood the responsibility it carried. His decisions would impact countless lives. "I accept," he said finally, his voice calm but resolute. "Not for honor, but to continue ensuring justice and stability. Humanity has much to offer, and I wish to contribute where I can." The Queen nodded, her expression one of approval. "Very well. Then let it be known. This human who stepped out of the crowd and confronted the guilty shall serve as an advisor, a symbol of courage and reason. Let all who witness this remember that action guided by integrity is the highest form of power." Ethan felt the eyes of the court upon him, a mixture of awe and respect. He realized that his presence alone challenged assumptions, reshaping how humans were perceived in this alien world. He was no longer an outsider, no longer a mere observer. He was a participant, a contributor, and a symbol of what humanity could achieve. Lyra stepped forward, her wings folding neatly behind her. "The Queen's trust is rare," she said softly. "Few would receive it, and even fewer deserve it. You have earned it honestly, human. Remember this and continue to act with the same courage and wisdom." Ethan nodded, feeling a quiet gratitude. He had stepped forward once in the arena, risking everything without certainty of success. Now, that decision had led to recognition, responsibility, and the chance to shape events on a larger scale. He understood that courage was not a single act but a continuous choice, made moment by moment. The Queen's eyes softened slightly, and she extended her hand in a gesture unfamiliar to him. He hesitated, then took it, feeling the strength and authority within her grasp. "You have proven that humans are capable of more than we realized," she said. "May your actions continue to remind us that courage and intellect know no boundaries." Ethan felt a sense of purpose settle over him. The journey had been perilous, filled with uncertainty and danger, yet every choice, every observation had led to this moment. He had proven that humanity, often overlooked and underestimated, could stand shoulder to shoulder with the galaxy's most formidable beings. The court erupted into applause, a mixture of alien sounds that resonated deeply within the hall. Ethan allowed himself a small smile, acknowledging the recognition, yet his mind remained focused. There was still work to be done, still challenges to face, but for the first time, he felt that humans had a place in this galaxy, not only as observers but as active participants, capable of shaping the future. As the crowd dispersed, Ethan walked beside the Queen, observing the palace from a new perspective. The halls no longer seemed alien or intimidating. They were a place of possibility, a place where intelligence, courage, and moral choice mattered above all else. He knew that the traitor's influence had been contained, but he also knew that vigilance was essential. Betrayal, deceit, and danger would always exist in some form. Yet the Queen's trust and his own capabilities gave him the confidence that he could meet these challenges. "You have changed more than just the outcome of this trial," Lyra said quietly as they walked. "You have shifted perceptions. Humans will now be seen differently. Your courage has echoes beyond this palace." Ethan nodded. "I only hope that we continue to live up to that trust. One act of courage cannot change everything, but it can be a start." The Queen stopped at a balcony overlooking the city below. The alien metropolis stretched endlessly, its lights shimmering under the rising suns. Ethan gazed at it, imagining the lives of millions, the delicate balance of politics, power, and trust that held it together. He felt both humility and determination. "Look at this world," the Queen said, her voice soft yet carrying the authority that had ruled generations. "It is vast, complex, and fragile. Courage, honesty, and action are the threads that keep it together. You, human, have demonstrated that even one individual can strengthen those threads." Ethan felt the weight of her words settle over him. He had stepped out of the crowd in the arena, risking everything without certainty, and that single act had set a chain of events into motion. It had proven that courage and integrity were universal forces, not confined by species or history. "I will do my best," he said quietly, "to honor that trust, to protect this world, and to show that humanity is capable of contributing to something greater." The Queen nodded, and a rare smile touched her features. "Then go forward, human. The galaxy is vast and challenges are endless. But know this, you have already left your mark. Your actions will be remembered and your courage will inspire those who follow." Ethan looked out over the city, feeling a deep sense of purpose and belonging. He was no longer just a human in a crowd. He was a symbol, a bridge between worlds, a proof that courage, intelligence, and moral choice could transcend boundaries and reshape the course of events. And as the suns rose higher, casting light across the palace and the city beyond, Ethan understood that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and opportunity, and humanity had a place in it, not as spectators, but as actors capable of shaping the future with courage, wisdom, and determination. For the first time, he felt the full weight of responsibility and the exhilaration of possibility. He had stepped forward when it mattered most, faced the unknown, and succeeded. And now he was ready to continue, knowing that wherever he went, his actions could make a difference, and humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer uncertain. The Queen turned back to him, her golden eyes reflecting both the sun's and a rare warmth. "Remember, human, the future is shaped by those who dare to act. You have dared and you have changed everything." Ethan nodded, taking a deep breath. He would not fail, he could not fail. The galaxy had seen what humanity could do, and now it was time to continue proving it, one courageous choice at a time.